Hi everyone! Today's new cane that we're going to be working on are going to be these leaf clusters. These are going to be one of the more simpler designs, so sit back and enjoy the music as I go over this step-by-step tutorial. Step 1. Create Simmons Skinner blend. I'm using 3 colors, 13 grams of light green, 13 grams of medium green, and 13 grams of dark green. With these 3 colors, you want to create a Simmons Skinner blend. The trick is to have over 3 times the amount of color you actually want to use, and then cut out a tapered triangle out of the dark green clay. The triangle portion ends up being 4 grams. Then I cut this pointy oval shape for the middle. It was a bit too big, so if that happens, you can always trim it down to get more close to the shape you want. Lastly, I created a tapered green triangle to complete the Simmons Skinner blend setup. After that, you can run this through the pasta machine like you normally would with any other type of Skinner blend. You don't have to use the Simmons Skinner blend for this. It's just fun to try out different ways of doing things to play around and get different effects. A simple cane like this is a good place to get started and practice. I find that the Simmons Skinner blend really allows you to adjust the portions of color to create a more evenly gradated look. Whereas the regular Skinner blend, you might have too much of one color before you see visible blending. Once you get a gradient sheet that's wide in width and narrow in height, you want to fold it in half and stretch the sheet through your pasta machine. I usually run it through multiple times to gradually reduce the thickness, first through setting 0, then 3, then 6. Step 2. Create bullseye cane. After you've stretched your gradient into a long, thin strip, you want to start rolling it into a bullseye cane starting from the lightest end of the clay. You want to roll firmly to prevent any air from getting trapped in the layers. If one side starts protruding outward, just push it back in and continue rolling. Next, you can add a thin border with your dark clay to give it a bit more definition. Now that we have a nicely graded bullseye cane, we want to add a vein. Take a sharp blade and slice it down the middle. If your clay is too soft, you may need to firm up the clay by either sticking it in the freezer for 10 to 15 minutes or leaving it alone for a day to firm up on its own. After you've sliced the cane, take a thin sheet of darker colored clay and place it about halfway into the sliced area. Then stick the 2 halves of the circle back together. Slice off the excess and compress the pieces together. Step 3. Form leaf shape. To form the leaf shape, start by pinching just above the vein across the length of the cane. You can use the seam line as a guide for where you need to pinch so that the cane stays in alignment. After you finish pinching above the vein, you now want to pinch the opposite side. There is also a seam on the other end, which will make the job much easier. Now that most of the heavy lifting is done, do any fine-tuning to further define your leaf shape into the shape you want it to be. Step 4. Wrap leaf with translucent. Next, you want to take a sheet of translucent clay that you've ran through thickness setting 0 of your pasta machine and wrap this around the leaf. I wrap one end starting from the vein to the top, then I cut off from the top at a slant to make it easier to apply the sheet back over the other side. And there you have your little leaf cane wrapped with some translucent. You can add another thin layer of translucent if you want more space between the leaves once they are assembled into a bundle. Step 5. Reduce leaf cane. In this section, I'm just reducing my leaf cane so that I can get it long enough to comfortably cut into 3 separate pieces. Step 6. Cut leaf cane into 3 sections. After you've reduced your leaf cane, you want to cut it into 3 sections. You can have them at slightly different lengths since leaves in nature can sometimes be random in size. After you cut your sections, you can further adjust the shape of the leaf as desired, and reduce the leaves that might be shorter than the others so that the lengths end up the same length even if the diameter of the leaves may be different.
Step 7. Lengthen stem.
In order to lengthen the stem, just pinch the stem portion to elongate it. Once the leaves are all put together, the elongated stems will appear as if they are attached to one another in a bundle. This is similar to what was done for the berry bundles cane in the previous video.
Step 8. Assemble leaves.
Play around with assembling the leaves together until you get an arrangement you like. You want to stagger the pieces to get a natural look. I felt like I needed more space between the two leaves on the right, so I cut out some translucent and wedged that in.
Step 9. Cane packing.
Last but not least, you want to pack your leaf cane so that you have a more versatile cane. Here I take a cube and pinch some of the corners to fit into the space between the leaves. Then I take a rectangle sheet and cut up strips to fill up the rest of the crevice. For the other side, I take another rectangular sheet of packing clay and repeatedly cut strips to build up the other side. The goal is to turn it into a circular shape so that it's easier to reduce. With a flexible blade, I trim off some excess clay so that I'm not using more than what I need. Once it's mostly packed, finish off by bordering it with a thin layer of packing clay.
Step 10. Reduce leaf cluster cane.
I set it on its side and start pinching every side of the cane to ensure even reduction, rotating the cane around as I reduce. I also press the face of the cane to help prevent it from oozing off too much. There is always going to be a bit of distortion off to the side, and you want to minimize that as much as possible. Now, let's cut off the distorted ends to reveal our cane design. Here you have your leaf bundle cane. I hope y'all enjoy this video. As always, let me know if you have any questions or feedback for my videos. I love hearing from y'all and appreciate all that have encouraged and supported me so far to keep making more videos. Stay awesome, and I'll see y'all next time.